Yo, the publishing chief of Baldur's Gate 3 just called out Ubisoft. Remember Ubisoft not too long ago said gamers need to get used to not owning their games? Well, this guy flat out said developers must get used to not having jobs. Woo, what a fire like fucking quote. Like that is literally like a fucking headshot into the head of people that want to push this digital age. So there's always been the physical versus digital debate, and Ubisoft seems like they're stepping into the digital realm of things very quickly as of late. Now, Baldur's Gate 3 fucking crushed it. Like that was a game of the year candidate, fucking fantastic. And for another gaming company to call it another gaming company on broken strategies, this is where we're starting to get a lot of interesting crossfire here because you never really see developers and studios attack other studios, but now we're seeing it. So just the other day, Ubisoft revealed that they had to basically disband their team that worked on Prince of Persia, and this was part of that conversation. So Larian director of publishing Michael Dowse. So this is the individual Michael Dowse who called out Ubisoft. Said never one to be shy about speaking his mind, has spoken his mind about Ubisoft's decision to disband the Prince of Persia Lost Crown development team, saying it's the result of a broken strategy that prioritizes subscriptions over sales. And to be completely honest, that's part of what's going on with Game Pass as well. Isn't it like known fact that Game Pass kind of technically loses money with that service because people aren't buying games anymore? Sure, it's crushing it. Sure, there's a lot of members, they're making money, but ultimately, physical sales are dying, and physical sales used to drive the console's lifespan. And now we're getting into the digital age, and things are going more towards these services where I guess the consumers have to stream for their games, and developers are more picking up on that where you're not actually physically selling anything. It's just some kind of digital license. I'm in the middle about it. Some games I like to get digitally. Some games I like to get physically. I'm not going to cry if I buy a digital deluxe edition of a game that I'm just kind of casually interested in playing in. Regardless if so, this says Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown is quite good, and I did cover it. I reviewed it. I streamed it. I liked it. PC Gamer's Molly Taylor felt it was dragged down by a very slow start, calling it a slow burn to a fault and an overall positive review, and it holds an enviable 86 aggregate score on Metacritic. Despite that, Ubisoft recently confirmed that the dev team has been scattered to the four winds to work on other projects that will benefit from their expertise. This, Dowse feels, is at least partially the outcome of Ubisoft's focus on subscriptions over conventional game sales. The whole feeling comfortable with not owning your game thing espoused by Ubisoft Director of Subscriptions Philippe Tremblay earlier this year. So that caused a huge stink. And I think a lot of what's going on with Ubisoft right now is attributed to that conversation. I think a lot of the heat and a lot of the thumbs downs that you see on their videos and stuff is because of this guy's quote. If I'm going to be completely honest, I think a lot of their backlash is from him. And yeah, the decision to stop releasing games on Steam, which is far and away the biggest digital storefront for PC gaming. So they stopped putting stuff on Steam. So here's the quote that Dowse put. The last notable game on their platform was arguably Far Cry 6 in 2021. The Crew, Mirage, and Avatar came in 2023 and didn't perform, so you can assume subscriptions were at a lull when Prince of Persia released by 2024, which means people wouldn't be launching their store all too much. I mean, he's speaking facts. I liked Mirage, but it seemed like it came out and kind of vanished along with Avatar, one of the biggest franchises in the world. And then not to mention we just had Star Wars Outlaws. Like literally like their games come out and then like in a week nobody cares about them. Continuing on, he says, if it had released on Steam, not only would it have been a market success, but there would have likely be a sequel because the team are so strong. It's such a broken strategy. The hardest thing is to make a 85 plus game. It is much, much easier to release one. It shouldn't just be done as it was. Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown did eventually come to Steam, but not until August 8th, 7 months after its initial release. It's been as well received there as elsewhere, holding a very positive user rating, but that far down the road The proverbial wind was out of its sails, and decisions about a sequel and the fate of the Dead team were presumably already locked in. And that's the weird thing. I think Steam should be simultaneously released as the consoles. I don't know why some people like Sony do it and other people, they wait so long to release that bullshit. Release it all at once. I think Star Wars Outlaws was a couple of weeks. I think Assassin's Creed Shadows is going to be the first one that they simultaneously release, and that's because it got delayed. Now, continuing on, it says, if the statement gamers should get used to not owning their games is true because of a specific release strategy, then the statement developers must get used to not having jobs if they make a critically acclaimed game is also true. And that just isn't sensible, even from a business perspective. So, yeah, it seems like a lot of times these companies hate their consumers. Now, here's the screenshot from the tweet that they had. I hadn't gotten to get a good look of it. I just literally got home to take a look at everything. But yeah, I mean, it looks like it's getting a good response. 1.5K likes, 104 reposts. Basically calling it like it is. Calling it like it is. And again, it's interesting when you see people that work for other development studios calling it. Now, this goes on to say that Ubisoft has arguably seen the error of its ways, right? To some extent, after years of keeping PC releases to its own storefront and the Epic Game Store, Ubisoft's games began trickling back to Steam in 2022 and announced a wholesale return to the storefront in September, saying that all future releases, including the delayed Assassin's Creed Shadows, will launch on Steam on day one. It's worth remembering that even when you purchase games on Steam, you don't really own them in the traditional sense. You're paying for a license to use them, and that can be taken away from you at any time for any number of reasons. But with all due respect to GOG, Steam is where most PC gamers buy their stuff. And the digital marketplace that now dominates PC gaming, that license agreement is de facto ownership. Publishers avoid the storefront at their peril. So honestly, dude, if you're not putting your game on Steam and it's on PC, you're shooting yourself on the fucking foot. Aside, yeah, Epic Game Store, whatever, but Steam's where it's at. And Steam database is where people live and fall and die by the sword. Look at Concord, look at Dustborn, look at all the games that have come out and failed. Now, this does go on to say that it's not to say a Steam release would have ensured a long, bright future of the game or for sequels, but it's also available on all the consoles, which seemingly didn't add up to stellar sales. So you got to think about it. It's on PS4, 5, Xbox One, Series XS, and Switch, and the sales still were poor enough to where they disbanded. And I just think it's that Ubisoft stink. I think Ubisoft just has a rep that people just aren't coming out for it anymore, sadly. Now, Dow said it was an ideal fit for the Steam storefront and Steam Deck, and being there would have given it a better chance at finding an audience than not being there. It can't resonate with an audience it doesn't reach because it isn't on a platform at the right moment. I mean, that's fucking on the fact. You can see for premium games, Steam on PC is about 90% of your total sales on that platform. Probably slightly lower if you own your own platform. If you remove the Steam platform at peak of relevance, you're removing 90% average of your potential audience. Quite substantial. I mean, this guy's calling them out. Calling them the fuck out. So, honestly, he's not wrong. Literally, Ubisoft is burning money. They're losing money, not going on the platform, and it's too little, too late. And the games that they do make, the good games they make, like Prince of Persia, that was one of their best games in a fucking long time, got lost in the wind. And now you got all these other games like Avatar, Star Wars Outlaws, Assassin's Creed coming out. They're full of wokeness and DEI. They're gonna fucking flop. And of course, Prince of Persia is the one that had to fail. Not to mention Skull and Bones. They wasted so much money making that. The one good game that they had that was a banger that got an 85 plus score, that team had to disband to go work on all the other crap that they're coming up with. It's almost backwards. It's like the team that did good got punished, right? The team that got good and did a good game and had a good release got punished to go work on all the other Ubisoft out there. All the woke DI infected crap, like even Assassin's Creed Hex, the next Assassin's Creed after Assassin's Creed Shadows, is rumored to be having a lot of fucking modern feminism and wokeness in it. And, it's this company's at an all time decade low with the stock. Tencent is probably going to get it because minor and major investors are urging them to go private or to sell off. This company can't be doing anything right at this point. Now, the one team, again, that made one of the far and few between good games, because Prince of Persia, trust me, if you guys haven't played it yet, it's a fucking banger. They had to be disbanded. So this is a big fucking yikes here. But this guy calling it out, Michael Doss, he's not lying. He's not fucking lying at all. He's completely right. And Baldur's Gate 3 fucking crushed it. It crushed it. So Ubisoft definitely, I believe, has a broken strategy. I know they tried to make their launch or something. They wanted to make their money. They got Ubisoft Plus as well, but you got to be on Steam. Anyways, guys, let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. Love to hear what you guys have to say. We're literally on the cusp of 93K subscribers. So if you haven't subscribed yet, hit that sub button. I will see you on the next one. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Take care.